Join you on this edition of World Environment Day. I will be the only one in this session, and what I would do would be basically to move in between different kinds of things. I'll be reading from a couple of poems about the environment. They are poetry books from Nigeria, or written by Nigerian poets. And then I would read a little bit about what I think are my own reflections about the intersection between poetry and the environment or the ecology. So first of all, thank you all for joining me today on this edition of the program. I am grateful to the organizers of the event for having me, and most importantly for drawing me out of my shell. My name is Tosin Gbogi, and I'm an assistant professor of English and Africana Studies at Marquette University in the US. I'm the author of the poetry volumes, The Tongues of a Shattered Sky, and Locomotives and other songs. Of course, like many other people in my generation, I was born when the idea to kill the earth reached its climax, and I will be talking today about that earth. Without wasting much of your time, I want to begin this session with a short poem titled Aridity of the Moment. The earth, which was once a plume of colors, a rainbow of greens, the earth which once knew its name, knew its harmattan, its snowless winter of cold, which knew its rains, its August deluge of wonders, showers which saved the maize of the mother of March, when inchoate rains chased into life, fledgling leaves choked by gaseous sunlight. The earth, the earth. The earth, where is that earth now? That earth which once kept to its time, to its route, to his own curse, his tenor in his song. Where is that earth now? Now that the pungent smell of greed blocks his breath, suffers his lungs, and enters his name in the aridity of the moment. Where is that earth now? I open this session with this poem as a way to reflect tersely on the mess that we have made collectively of a loving earth. An earth from which we draw our breath, farm our vegetables, scoop our water, seek our light, and await the chlorophyll of harvest. I also open with this poem to remind us all of the abiding interest that poets such as the person talking have always had in nature. And poets, of course, are mostly wonders of the death that ironically awaits us when, as the Nigerian poet Ni Oshinari notes, that we kill the earth so that we may live. Samuel Taylor Coleridge, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, is a good example of what I regard or call prophetic ecopoetics. And by ecopoetics, I mean prophetic ecopoetics, I mean the relationship between poetry and prophecy in terms of forecasting what will happen if we do not rally around to save our earth. In that warning poem that is in The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Taylor Coleridge, the poet created as characters a bird and seamen. The bird was called the albatross, and that bird was renowned for being the guardian angel of sailors. It was in this capacity that this particular bird hovered over the sailors as they traveled, guiding them and bringing them luck as they navigated winds of tough luck and unknown seasons. Now, they were sailors and they were traveling, and there was this bird that was over them, and it was, more or less guiding them. But as kind as that particular bird was, the sailor shot him, and together the seamen turned against him and left him to die. What was the sin of this bird? It was too kind. It was guiding the sailors. It was bringing them out of the ice jam in which they found themselves. But that bird did not die, and that story did not end there. In return for his own death, that bird brought them death. And the mariner, that is the sailor who shot him, he endowed him with another fate entirely. That is, he made him to be what we call the living dead. So the sailor was moving between life and death. In death, the body of that bird hangs around the neck of the mariner, that is the sailor who shot him, as a way of punishing, that sailor. Today, I want to ask us to contemplate the present by extrapolating from the narrative of that poem. In doing this, I ask us to imagine this bird in the broader scheme of things. I want us to imagine that bird as the earth that we live on, while we take the seamen as every one of us here today, joining me in life, and of course, every human being on the earth today. For the safety that the earth provides us, we repay our earth with murder. Cold murder. We pollute its skyward lungs, its pure water. We cut down its trees and make of them the most ridiculous things we can in the name of passing fancy. The myths, which once were alive, such as when the Yoruba say don't, when they tie a white wrapper around the Iroko tree and say don't cut that tree. That is a myth that is, that was actually put in place to protect that tree. Or when they say children should not, stone birds so that don't kill them. Why do you have to kill the birds anyway? These myths, we mock them today in the name of modernity and progress. But in a sense, these were myths and signs that once functioned within what I regard to be a certain economy of ecological protection. These myths were supposed to protect the environment. But we mock them today because we believe that we have advanced, we are different, we're better than the past. And in return for our affront, the earth hangs on our neck like that albatross that actually hangs on the neck of that mariner, that sailor. The earth punishes us with hurricanes, earthquakes, and aridity, among other catastrophes. But despite this disdain for the earth, poetry and poets, as well as other eco-activists who have been talking today, they all remind us that a loving earth should not die because of its love. Modern Nigerian poetry, which I formally study, and to which my poetic practice belongs, has a long history of thinking eco-poetically, eco-ethically, and eco-emotively. We find in many poems and books, including J.P. Clark's Night Train and Wole Soyinka's Idonre, among many other books and poems written by Nigerian writers. In the rest of this session, I want to read some of these Nigerian poets that speak to our particular concern today. Their poems articulate in diverse ways, not only the earth that we have greedily eaten, we have eaten the earth more or less. So their poems not only, articulate that concern, but their poems also help us to see what lies in wait for our repentance. They also help us to articulate the earth that lies in wait for our repentance, for our collective action and responsibility. And they call us urgently to take action for that earth that we all live on. I would begin by reading from my poem, from my book, Locomotives and Other Poems, and this was published in 2018. I will read a poem which is, of course, dedicated to the Niger Delta and to, other things around Nigeria. The poem is titled Amunisin. And Amunisin is the Yoruba word for a slaver, somebody who enslaves the other, anthropos, gune, and other shameless animals, whose bones lie beneath this road, whose voice, abandoned, is locked in these walls, whose amontillado is in this paragon of stones, and whose agony is in the color of this blood, Whose love is in this silence, whose silence is in this violence, and whose violence is this silence? In whose name do these leaves' bones dry, and at whose request do they die? Whose bees drink from this nectar, and who chokes the same nectar with tar? Who beatifies corruption, calling it stealing, and in whose temples do the riches grow wings and head for the heavens? From whose factories do these fumes go forth to the sky? Whose chlorine is in this urine that drops its tears on the Antarctica? Whose evil is this acid rain on Egbeman's roofs? Whose Bomoboni bomb is this lodged in the throat of Bodo? Patriots, this is Baramato Kingdom. Whose handwriting is this ugliness on the walls? And for what reason is this treason a monument of love? Patriots, this is Baramatu Kingdom, lying naked in rubble. Who destroyed the Wonifari market, planting it in a midnight grave, whose invisible petrol was in the Christmas fire that lit Tejosho? And whose deed was the dust to which Makoko and Badia were reduced? And in their place, whose plan is this? This giant necklace of gentrification on the neck of Amunisi, bowing down to Mammon. It is Anthropos, white, brown, and black, goonies, willful, wicked, and wasted, shameless humans, mining for metal, destroying stalks and petals. So that is the poem, and it's from Locomotives and Other Poems, published in 2018. And I will go now to Songs of Myself by Taniro Jaide. Taniro Jaide is a Nigerian poet, and it's one of the most renowned Nigerian poets, the biggest Nigerian poets. I'm going to read again from one of his poems because of our time. That actually deals with the Niger Delta. If we have more time, I can take more poems. I'll quickly read from this. I want to read from a poem that he calls I Pass the Same Roads. I Pass the Same Roads. That is the title of the poem. I pass the same roads the Beke de Remos have passed. Stand at the crossroads of sacrifice to invoke Tamara. Tamara is Ijo word for God. I stand at the crossroads of sacrifice to invoke Tamara, that is God, to avenge the wrongs done to them and the land. I listen to the lyrics of dark arbor-line creeks of fish and the orchestra of every bird and life of the mangroves. But hear only hisses of every bird and life of the mangroves. But hear only hisses of fuming flares at multiple locations. I look up to the sky to address the invisible powers and seek the blessings of ancestors that gave Ozidi the fortitude of heroes, and Kenule Kensarowiwa, who was murdered in Nigeria as a result of fighting for the environment by the Abacha regime. I seek the blessings of ancestors that gave Ozidi the fortitude of heroes and Kenule brave martyrdom. With all my breath, I call the water queen whose love is my fortune. The sea continues to replenish for a lifetime. I call her attendant mammy that serenade her majesty, but the oil super tankers berthed deep in the horizon afflict the beauty with sickening slicks and sluices. Tell me the day of the year that the sun will smile, and not confused with worries of smoldering fumes. Tell me when the moon in its anticipated outing will not hide deeper than the stars amidst the soot. Mountains of refineries covering the neighborhood. Tell me the season of organic cherries or other fruits with the soil soaked full of methane and toxins. When I hurry or tarry at the outskirts of town, it matters not when I arrive with no fresh fish to treat my favorites or the food market to sell. The town is stripped of regattas and masquerades. I pass the same rules that Beke de Remos have passed. I stand at the crossroads of sacrifice to invoke Tamara, to avenge the wrongs done to them and the land. To those spreading afflictions, Tamara, strike them with loathing for the harm they do without qualms. And that right there is, I pass the same rules by Tanrio Jaide from Songs of Merit. And that is devoted to Niger Delta. You know, Niger Delta has been despoiled by our oil companies prospecting for the environment is not livable by the people. The golden egg, you know, I mean, the chick with the golden eggs, you know, cannot even harvest from his own, you know, from his own fruit. And that's the irony of Nigeria as a country. Then I also want to read from Niyi Osundare's City Without People. It's a poem that, I mean, it's a book that was done after Katrina happened. And it's about the environment, basically. How can a city be without people? You know, that is one of the most powerful, ideas that is. And Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005 in New Orleans, and many people died, and that's as a result of the, you know, kinds of things that we have done to the earth. So when we do not regard the earth, when we do not save our earth, it is not just that the earth will die, but the earth will also come back to haunt us. I will read from a very short poem titled Water Never Forgets. That is what we do to the rivers, what we do to the earth. These are all things that will come back to haunt us one day. When we block the earth, when we block rivers with dirt, when we do things to the river and say, this river, what can you do? But the river has its own power. The river has its own spirit. The river has its own Eleda that we hunt, that will actually avenge his own death. And the title of the poem is called Water Never Forgets. Water has its own memory, its drip, drop dead hints, its mindscape of echoes, 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 echoes. So when we steal its worms, unfin its fishes, and trample its shells, when we scoop its heart, steal its span, and cement its stomach, it never fails to roar back and reclaim its trespassed honor. Water has memory. Its mouth sizzles with vengeful teeth. That is water revenges. And that's why we have Katrina, hurricanes, and we have, you know, Omiyale, the kind of thing that we had in the battle back then. This is the last book I'll be reading from, and it's from Niyi Osundaре. It's an award-winning poem, and it was done in 1986. Yeah. Yep. 1986. And it's one of the most powerful books written about the earth, right? I'll read two poems, and I will, you know, open this up for people to ask questions. The first poem that I will read from is titled Day 2 at the Earth. It's a very popular poem in Nigeria. Day 2 at the earth, the swan songs of beggars sprawled out in brimming gutters. They are the earth. Under snakeskin shoes and Mercedes tires, Day 2 at the earth, the sweat and grime of millions, hewing wood and hauling water, they are the earth. Muddy every pore like naked moles. Day 2 at the earth, the distant groan of thousands buried alive in hard, unfathomable mines. They are the earth of gold dreams and blood banks. Day 2 at the earth, the old dying distant deaths in narrow abandoned hamlets. They are the earth, women battling centuries of maleficent slavery. A day of this earth, who fritter the forest and harry the hills? Are they of this earth who live that earth may die? Are they? And then the very last poem that I'll be reading from is called, it's a very hopeful poem about the earth that we live in, right? And it's titled, The Earth Will Not Die. Ojú mi ń ṣomi ń rodò rere. Ayé ń lọ. Ojú mi ń ṣomi ń rodò rere. Ayé ń lọ. Lynched the lakes, slaughtered the seas, mauled the mountains. But our earth will not die. Our earth will not die. Our earth will not die. 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 Here, there, and everywhere, a lake is killed by the arsenic urine from the bladder of profit factory. A poisoned stream staggers down the hills, coughing chaos in the sickly sea. The wailing whale, belly up like a tiring fish, crests the chilling swan song of parting waters. But our earth will not die, will not die, will not die, will not die. Who lynched the lakes? Who? Who slaughtered the seas? Who? Whoever mauled the mountains? Whoever. Our earth will not die, will not die, will not die, will not die, will not die. And the rain falls, acid on burning forests. Their branches amputated by the septic daggers of tainted clouds. Weeping willows drip mercury tears in the eye of sobbing terrains. A nuclear sun rises like a funeral ball, reducing man and meadow to dust and dirt. But our earth will not die, will not die, will not die, will not die. Fishes have died in the waters, fishes. Birds have died in the trees, birds. Rabbits have died in their burrows, rabbits. But our earth will not die, will not die, will not die, will not die, will not die. Our earth will see again, our eyes washed by a new rain. The western sun will rise again, resplendent like a new coin. The wind, unwound, will play its tune. Trees twittering, grasses dancing, hillsides will rock with blooming harvest. The plains batting their highs of grass and grace. The sea will drink its heart's content when a jubilant thunder flings open the sky gate and a new rain tumbles down in drums of joy. Our earth will see again. This earth, our earth. Thank you very, very much. So I will open it up to Q&A, and if you have questions, I think we have about 6 minutes, 7 minutes roughly. And if you have questions, I'll quickly take them. And well, as Nigerians say, no darling, no dull moment, yeah. So maybe I should read why people think about the questions that they have. Maybe I should read one more poem by Tanuri Ojaide, and the poem again is from Songs of Myself by Tanuri Ojaide. And I'll be reading, while I wait your questions, of course, from the zestful. The title of the poem is called. The poem is called "The Zestful River Lost Its Fine Fingers." The zestful river lost its fine fingers that once pointed to our ancestral wetlands, to a slew of oil-borne toxins seeping through the skin to dissolve membranes. The forest that for long stood erect has its legs amputated by multinational poachers to post proud profits at the stock exchange. The refuge of green vandalized by intruders, all the groves and beauty spots disfigured by constant exposure to acid showers. You wouldn't know this was the primeval heaven, this home whose residents draw from agony. Fishermen and other folks fell to bell seduction and now survive only on imported frozen fish. The smooth body lacerated beyond recognition by gas flares and blowouts. The skin peels away. The anthills marking the land sank into oblivion from perennial corrosion, the body damped crust. The catfish wears no whiskers as the mudfish misses its phallic head, but now alien in their home waters. The homebred parrot, no longer spokesman of birds, just as the burning sky read the ego of his majesty. The eyes of the earth, blinded by convulsive fumes, no longer the sentinels that kept us safe at a distance. Only one ear, not two, opening to all directions, and so no more for ones of advancing perils. The nose, a mere facial protrusion, and a tongue, a labial outgrowth, no longer the household taster. These mutations stuck with us, so inescapable, accursed fate of battering one wealth for another. Thank you. So I think there's a question now. Are there youth leaders making change, and what actions are working? Well, I think there are, and I think the answer to that question, of course, is to look at what the Green Initiative is, right, in Nigeria, and the kinds of things that they're actually doing. So yeah, so to answer that question, there are people, but we need more people. I don't see so many people talking about why we need the earth to survive in Africa or in Nigeria, right? There are people, there are pockets of efforts here and there, but we need a more sophisticated effort. We need a grand plan to save the earth. So yeah, so that's about that. Well, thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate. Thank you for for coming in, and for all the questions dropping in, and for all the comments on the live comments streaming in. I really enjoyed that. Thank you very much. So it's been wonderful being here.